Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. Bonjour à tout le monde. Je voudrais d'abord remercier l'Association canadienne des anciens fonctionnaires internationaux de m'avoir invité à parler aujourd'hui. Je suis vraiment très content de participer à cette journée des Nations Unies qui est tombée sur un samedi, mais comme vous savez, pour nous les retraités, il n'y a plus de différence entre les jours de semaine. Et en plus, avec le Covid, on ne voit aucune différence d'un jour à l'autre. And I would like also to congratulate WFP for the Nobel Peace Prize. We are all proud of that. Like most of you, I consider myself part of the boom generation, which lived in a wonderful and exciting period of time. I am a few years younger than the UN and ICAO, and like most of you, I have witnessed and benefited from the new era after the Second World War, defined by the decline of colonial empires, the end of the Cold War, the landing on the moon, the civil rights movements, the integration and expansion of the global economy, and the advancement of science and technology. But most of all, we have to recognize that we lived in peace, had stable jobs, and are very lucky to have a pension and health insurance. Unfortunately, the new generations may not have similar opportunities as we had. I'd like today to share with you my experience of more than 40 years in the civil aviation sector. As I was introduced by Jacques Daoust, I worked with Morocco as a civil aviation professional and diplomat, and then with ICAO in different capacities, and after that with the industry. In my different positions at ICAO, I had the opportunity to work closely with many organizations of the United Nations, the regional commissions, the World Bank, and regional development banks. And after my retirement from ICAO in 2014, I considered myself still very young, and I decided to remain active. So I continued working part-time as well as volunteering. And since 2016, I have a great opportunity to join a company, Loon, which is a sister organization of Google that provide internet connectivity to remote areas through stratospheric balloons. So I'd like here to share with you some facts and stories regarding ICAO, which is, of course, part of the United Nations system. I was born in 1952, and I look at my lifetime and know how the air transport has grown. And that year, in 1952, we had 45 million passengers carried. We had also 21 fatal accidents, with 386 passengers killed. So it's interesting to see, for example, that in 2019, we had 4.7 billion passengers carried by air, and we had 86 accidents, resulting in only 257 fatalities. This exceptional growth and improvement of safety is due in large part to the work of ICAO in establishing international regulations, policies, and technical standards in cooperation with the aviation industry. The exceptional growth of air transport was initiated by the launch of Open Skies in the US in 1980. Since then, international air transport was transformed with the privatization of airlines, corporatization of airports and air navigation service providers, and the development of low-cost airlines. We have here to recognize the important work done by ICAO, not only in safety and security, but in developing policies and guidance material regarding the liberalization of air transport and air transport economics. During my time at ICAO, I have contributed to many successes and achievements of the organization. I will mention only a few, like the establishment of the safety and security audit programs, the global plans for air safety, security, and air navigation, environmental protection, partnership with the United Nations system for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, UN SDGs, the machine-readable travel documents, and the revenue-generating activities. In fact, we have with us here Mr. Patanayak, who was, we used to call him Patanayak Enterprises in ICAO. I have also lived some frustrations and disappointments due to the micromanagement by the Council, sometimes mismanagement in the Secretariat, lack of accountability, coordination, and vision for sometimes, of course. But also I have seen some projects that were initiated using substantial resources and then abandoned for lack of will, oversight, or resources. I recall, in fact, the Council discussion in June 2001 regarding the 2001-2004 ICAO budget. At the time, the Secretary General proposed an increase of aviation security budget from $2 to $4 million. We had a long debate in the Council, and the proposal was rejected because of the zero nominal growth principle. Then we had, a few months after, we had the events of September 11, 2001, less than 2 weeks before the ICAO 33rd session of the General Assembly. The Assembly requested the organization of the first high-level ministerial conference on aviation security, which was held in February 2002. And that conference invited all contracting states to make voluntary contributions to finance the AFSEC plan, the Aviation Security Plan. That was a great success. During that triennium, to 2001-2004, voluntary contributions of more than $20 million were received by ICAO for aviation security. With regard to safety, we had the safety audit program established in 1995 under the Air Navigation Bureau. It was at the time, I was at the time council member, and I recall that the decision to establish USOP was made by the council and endorsed by the Assembly to replace, in fact, the FAA, the International Aviation Safety Assessment Program. FAA, of course, is the administration, the federal administration in the United States. That unfortunately didn't happen. FAA maintained its program, and it was joined by the European Union, which decided to establish its own assessment program, creating duplication and a burden on states that have to accommodate the 3 audits and assessments. The Universal Security Audit Program was established in 2002 under the Air Transport Bureau. But after a study in 2006 on the structure and the efficiency of the organization, it was decided to merge the 2 programs into a branch reporting to the Secretary General. The 2 programs, USOP and USAP, have been very successful and became the flagship of the organization. The plan at the time was to merge them into one program, the Universal Aviation Audit Program, covering all ICAO annexes for the implementation of all ICAO standards. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. In 2010, the SAA branch was dismantled. USOP was put again under ANB and USAP under ATB. The same thing happened with regards to the consolidation of assistance programs in the organization, which was initiated in 2006 and then stopped in 2007. The machine-readable travel documents program was also a huge success. I remember the discussion on the council where when some representatives considered the program to be outside the mandate of ICAO and that the organization should not lead the establishment of standards for passports, visas, and other travel documents. The program was endorsed by the council, allowing ICAO to become the leader in that area and generate substantial revenues from the annual MRTD symposium and exhibition. Similarly, ICAO should lead new areas that directly impact on civil aviation. Like today, for example, we have cybersecurity, drones, stratospheric operations, and space travel. From my experience, I believe that ICAO is one of the most successful organizations of the United Nations system. Its work is indispensable for states and the industry to maintain the development of civil aviation in a safe and sustainable manner. In my opinion as well, I'm taking into consideration the lack of resources in the current difficult situation due to COVID-19. I see that there are opportunities for ICAO to try to be more proactive than reactive, continue improving transparency, accountability, and ethics, review the need of having a resident council and a resident air navigation commission to reduce the secretariat support cost, and that is possible with the new technology, the availability of new technologies. ICAO should also review the structure of the organization, which has been frozen for a long time. And most importantly, ICAO has to follow through on the efforts to combat climate change. Like me, I'm sure that most ICAO retirees are able, keen, and available to continue contributing to ICAO, United Nations, UNICEF, and society through voluntary work. Many of us do. I had the opportunity to suggest to Dr. Aliou, the former ICAO president, to establish an aviation voluntary program under TCP, the Technical Cooperation Program in ICAO. That was done, but not in the way it was proposed. I don't know if you are aware of the existence of the United Nations Volunteer Organization, which is not well known. In fact, I suggest many times to ICAO to sign an agreement with UNV, not to create the will, and invite ICAO retirees to volunteer to support UNV and Technical Cooperation Bureau. Maybe CAFICS would want to follow up on that. So I would like to thank you again all. And thank all the speakers before me, Ambassador Bob-Boré, and the other speakers. And I would like to thank you all and invite you to enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Thank you.